But this is, I thought, would be a chance for Montclair to come together in community in one of the biggest rooms we could find and hear from someone who's really made a success in their small town. Please welcome Michael Moore.
Thank you for that. I'm in Montclair. I was out this way last year for my book tour. I don't know where I was. It's a Barnes & Noble out here, and it took like an hour and a half from Manhattan to get here. And it was so brutal, and the whole way out.
They feel for you. They really feel for you.
Yeah, well, I just kept thinking, why would anybody live out here? Because you get a yard. That's a lot of suffering for a yard. But today I'm ready to leave at 3 o'clock. I'm gonna give myself 2 hours. It took about 20 minutes. So I've been here since 4:30. I've gone around the museum. You have a beautiful place here, and thank you for inviting me. Nice audience.
Of all the things you do, you make films, you write books, you seem like a busy guy. What made you want to start a film festival?
Well, I've been going to film festivals since my first film, Roger Me. So it was almost 23 years ago. And as a filmmaker, when you go to festivals, I mean, there's some wonderful festivals out there. Obviously, yours in Toronto is one of the most incredible ones. There are other film festivals, though, that people would be surprised if they knew how the filmmaker was actually treated. There was one time where they flew me, I won't say where this was, but they flew me there and showed the film and had a Q&A like this. And then we were over, like we're going to be over here in an hour or so, and I walked out, they had not bought a ticket or anything to get me back home to Michigan. So I literally had no way, and I'm 1,000 miles from home. That's kind of probably the worst example of trying to find a place in Kansas City.
What's the slogan of your festival?
Just great movies. It's not that there isn't artsy-fartsy stuff, but it's less fartsy and more artsy. So,
what's the value of showing films versus, any other thing that you could do? You could have a poetry festival. You could have anything.
I've actually started a comedy festival now since the film festival up there. We want to get a fringe festival going. I think there's room, and a poetry festival is a good idea too. I think there's room for all of that. I think once you bring people in, I live in a community in an area of Michigan that has one of the lowest percentages of people who have a college education. The nearest four-year college is 150 miles.
You're bringing that down yourself.
What?
You're bringing down.
Yes, I have a high school education. That is correct. But I'm just saying that if you want access to higher education, the nearest four-year college is 150 miles away. So when you have a college nearby, it brings speakers, it brings films, it brings plays, it brings art and culture and ideas. And when you don't have a university or a college nearby, you don't get exposed to that. So I was dealing with a community that rejected subtitles on movies and did not go to nonfiction. That was basically the two no-nos. So no theaters there never showed anything. And I thought there's a way, I think, to get people to like these movies and to get them used to the subtitles and to get them used to nonfiction. It didn't take long because I think I picked the right films that drew them in, and now I can't stop them. I mean, the thing is just that our theater there, we've been open for, I would say we've been open for like 200 and some weeks now. And of those 200 and some weeks, about, I would say 110 of those weeks, our theater has been the top 10 grossing theaters in the country for the movie we're showing that week. So if we're showing, pick any art film that's out right now, for showing Tree of Life or whatever, it'll say, you know, Landmark Sunshine in New York, the Lemley Sunset in LA, Chicago, Boston, Traverse City. And it's the weirdest list to look at. But my theory, my experiment worked. That if programmed correctly, people would want more of it, and it would become like chocolate. I've always, I mean, that's why I make movies, because I just think it's a great way to entertain and educate people. Entertain first, not educate first. I'm a big believer in, especially because my films deal so much with political issues, that the politics has to come second to the art. The art has to come first. Too many political films, I think, fail because they put the politics first. You know, or they have this attitude of, you know, you must see this movie. You know, the world's falling apart. The polar ice caps are melting. You must see this movie. And nobody in the audience wants a finger wagging at them. They've worked hard all week. It's Friday night. If you go to the movies, you want to relax a little bit and be entertained. And I think entertainment doesn't just mean comedy. I mean, it can mean any of a number of ways to make you laugh, to make you cry, to have you think, get you angry, sad. But not give up. That's always my goal, is to, and why I try to use as much humor as I can, because I know the things I deal with in my films are depressing on some level. And depression will only cause paralysis amongst the audience when they leave. They're going to just go, oh yeah, geez, the world sucks. It's never going to get better. And I don't want that. I want you to leave angry. I want you to leave like, damn it, we can do something about this, or I should do something, or I'm going to get involved, or whatever that is. That's what I would never go see a movie about global warming, a documentary. I would never pay $10 to go see that. Because I already know. I already believe in it. I already know it exists. Why would I want to go bum myself out some more on something I already know? If I go to a documentary and I want to learn something, tell me something I don't know. Show me something I don't know is going on. And frankly, that's what I'm interested in making too. And people keep asking me, oh, are you making a documentary on Occupy Wall Street? And I said, well, I made those films for 20 years. I've done that with corporate America and Wall Street, and hopefully planted some seeds for this movement. But what I'm going to work on now is something that nobody's talking about or thinking about. And when that comes out, people go, whoa. And not whoa as in to be just bummed out about something else, but I want to take you for a ride at the movies. I just respect the fact, listen, I know we're talking a lot about politics here, but if I really just wanted to do politics, I'd run for office. You know, I'd start a political organization, a grassroots group or whatever. But I've chosen to be a filmmaker. I want to make movies. I want to give those people that work all week a chance to go and have a couple hours where they get lifted someplace. And when they leave there, they want to skip up the aisle. And in my case, hopefully ask for some, pitchforks and torches. I think that I wish more documentary filmmakers would try to go to those places that people don't want to go to, the places they're afraid to go to, the risky things that nobody wants to say. We know what those things are, some of them, right? And nobody wants to say it. I get frightened. I'm not frightened, but I was just thinking, this is not maybe the best example, but I tweeted something out at like 1 in the last night, and I thought, wow, man, you are going to pay for that. You are really going to pay for saying that. And all I said is that the supermoon has been out there for 2 hours, and Saturday Night Live still isn't funny. And I just thought, oh man, I'm going to take some shit within my own world for that. You will never see me on that show. In fact, I'll be ridiculed on it shortly. But that's a small thing. But I think people are afraid to go to certain places, and I want to go to those places. I know it upsets people when I go there. Fahrenheit 9/11. I started making that the week after I was booed off the stage at the Oscars for saying that the war was wrong. It was the 5th day of the war, and this is just going to be horrible, and there aren't going to be any weapons of mass destruction. And I think 20 to 30% of the country maybe agreed with me. 70 to 80% didn't. And I was really alone on that limb. And I had my whole crew together there, and I said, well, should we go ahead with this movie? Yes, let's do it. People are not going to like it. We're going to get a lot of shit, but this film has to be made. We have to make this film. Some of the best stuff we got to do has been out here in New Jersey, just because there's so many. This place is just ripe for satire, and not and the good kind. I don't mean all the old stupid Jersey jokes about how it smells and the swamps and this and that. I'm talking about the funny stuff out here. Really, all the corporations that are now based out here, all the shenanigans that goes on here politically. I just think it's so right. I think one of the things just because of the reaction I got when I said Morristown, is that I think that we need to have films in this festival to push you out of that comfort zone. If you think this is such a great place, then why aren't you leading the rest of New Jersey to a better place? Because that's not where New Jersey is at right now. And what are you doing to organize young people? Get young people involved. What are you letting happen to your schools here? Your governor is just a disgrace. Okay, now I know where I am. Like I said, I think we should show films in places like Montclair that make liberals, us, uncomfortable. We're afraid to criticize President Obama because we're afraid we're going to get Romney. We're afraid to stand up for the Palestinians because we've always supported Israel and always will. We're afraid to do, just go down the list of things we, liberals, are afraid to do. And those are the things we should not only be making films about, but we should be showing those films in film festivals. So, if you have New York Times editors that live in this community and they see next year's list of movies, I hope they look at it and go, who the hell is doing this? Who's letting this into Montclair? We want the New York Times view of the world, not that other stuff. So I would encourage this to be an open place for that, and I would encourage you to involve your young people in the art of filmmaking. The kids all have cameras, and they have basic editing stuff on their computers. And don't you want to hear from them? I want to hear from the young people today. Our generation, we got to make our movies, we got to invent our music. I want them to have some breathing room so that they can do that for themselves. So that's another way you can be helpful here in Montclair.
Well, I have to say we're in the waning hours of the Montclair Film Festival. There's still films left tonight. You can go over to Claridge, you can go over to Bellevue. There's the film We're Not Broke that I mentioned before. At 7 o'clock we're showing the film Metallica, Some Kind of Monster by Bruce Sinofsky, who's from Montclair. He's going to be there. You like that film, right?
That's a wonderful film, and another reason to love Montclair.
We're almost at a wrap for the very first Montclair Film Festival. For everyone in this room who's come out and supported this festival, thank you. Be prepared for next year. We're going to be back. And I want to thank Michael Moore for coming out. Thank you very much.